One of the key elements to succeeding on a news day is speed, being able to turn around stories and content as quickly as possible so that it can be tested and rehearsed ahead of a bulletin, or if it needs to be added or adapted with only minutes to go before you go on air. So being able to work from within a single program is important to avoid having to add additional steps to the workflow, which Burli allows us to do with its inbuilt audio editing features, which we'll look at now. We'll start by covering how we record into the program. Burli will use whatever device is selected within Windows settings, so whilst using the program on one of the newsroom machines, it is recommended that you use a USB headset and select this as the device within the sound settings under Input. If you're working directly in the radio studios, it should already be set up to work with the equipment that's already in there, so you won't need to change anything within the settings. Back within Burli, I then simply need to hit the record button within the audio control area, which will then create a new audio clip within the works folder and begin recording automatically. Be aware though that you don't get a live visualization of the waveform as it's being recorded. Once you've finished recording, you then simply need to hit the stop button and you'll be able to see the waveform, which you'll be able to then play back by using the playback controls within the works content area. If you have any audio files that were captured or acquired outside of the program, you can import these by going to the dashboard along the top of the screen and selecting Open, External Files. You then just need to navigate to where the files are housed and hit Open. Burli will even allow you to input the audio from a video file. However, it will need to convert the file, which depending on the duration of the clip, will take some time. We'll now look at how to use the basic audio editor. With an audio clip selected within the works folder, the waveform will be visible within the content area. Along the top you have the slug field where you can rename the file if you wish to. Below that, to interact with the clip you can use the playhead controls to begin and stop playback. If you wish to stop playback from a specific point in time, hover over that point and right click with the mouse. Once stopped, if you wish to resume from that point, you can then press F9. To rewind in increments, use F11. Holding F11 down will continuously rewind until released. To fast forward in the same manner, use F12. You can also specify a selection for playback by clicking and dragging to highlight an area. This will then make available some additional buttons within the playback controls. The first option will play just the selected area. Next we have options to play a second and a half either at the start or the end of the selection. We then have the ability to play back audio immediately around the selected area, so that we can preview what it sounds like if we wish to remove the selection. The handles of the selected area can be adjusted as necessary, which when dragged left or right will give us a live preview of the audio for better refinement. Once happy with the selection, to remove it, you simply hit the delete key. Fades can be added to the starts and ends of a clip by highlighting the area or duration that you wish to apply the effect to, then double clicking the area to open a window with the effect options. When editing long clips, it can also be useful to add markers as you go to be able to then later review. As the playhead is moving through the clip, simply hit the F8 key to add a marker at the point in time. Alternatively, you can use the mouse by clicking in the space just above the timeline. These markers can be repositioned by clicking and dragging the white square left or right, or can be removed by simply dragging it up or down back onto the waveform. When later reviewing these marked out areas, holding down the control key and clicking the waveform between the two markers will then highlight that section. When we delete content from an audio clip, we're making a permanent change, otherwise known as destructive editing. Edits can be undone to a point by either pressing Ctrl Z on the keyboard or by hitting the undo button next to the playback controls. But at some point you won't be able to undo changes that were made earlier in the process, and unless you have a backup of the original file, you won't be able to rectify any mistakes. so it's always a good idea to have a backup of the original file. There is another method though, for editing your audio clips non-destructively, meaning that the original file within Burli is left unchanged. It's called audio sequencing. This method involves marking out sections of the clip that you wish to either keep or remove, depending on how you wish to work, and building them into a new audio clip. Do this by highlighting a section of the clip that you wish to keep. Then drag that highlighted area upwards onto the timeline. When released, it should then create a blue marker around that section. As we add markers, you may also notice that there is a number in the top left corner. This symbolises the order in which these markers were created and are going to be built into a new audio file. The boundaries of these markers can be adjusted as necessary, or removed by simply clicking and dragging the blue section from the timeline back down onto the waveform. When we start to add markers in this fashion to the audio clip, 2 additional buttons become available on the playhead controls. The blue play button allows you to preview the markers in the order that you've created them. The sequence build button will then allow you to choose what you would like to do with the marked out sections. You can either create a new audio clip including the markers, or excluding them depending on how you've decided to use it. Using the option for including the markers, I now have a new audio file within the works folder that's titled sequence from followed by the title of the original clip. Clicking back on the original file shows that the content is still intact. Another great feature within Burli is called the waveform wizard, which allows us to combine multiple audio clips together quickly and easily within a single clip. Clicking on this icon in the audio control area will open the waveform wizard window, where we have listed all of our audio clips contained within the works folder. Simply tick the items that you wish to combine and drag them up and down in the order of their playout. A 1-second pause can also be added between clips if desired. You can also see at the top of the window what the overall duration of the clip will be. You can also choose to add background ambience or music. From this drop down box, simply select the item that you wish to use. You can then use the fader to the right to set the level. Once happy, you then just need to hit build. However, if any of the clip formats you've selected don't match, an error message will appear stating that this cannot be performed. This could be due to either the bit depth or the clip being recorded in mono or stereo. This can be corrected by right clicking on any of the offending items and selecting convert to default format. When you hit build within the waveform wizard, the new file will then be visible within the works folder.